Yo, what is up, everybody? My name is Tyler Adolfo. Hope that you are all having a wonderful day. In today's video, I am going to be talking about what it's like working at Dunkin Donuts, the premier coffee and food chain. America runs on Dunkin'. You know it? Specifically, in this video, I'm going to talk about what the job interview was like. I'm also going to talk about the benefits and perks I got to take advantage of while I was working there. I'll be sharing some stories about my interaction with management, so stay buckled in for those. We'll talk about wages and hours, and we'll also talk about what advancement opportunity exists, if any at all. Now, do keep in mind, I worked at Dunkin' Donuts from January of 2017 to February of 2017. That is not a particularly long period of time, but it was long enough for me to get a good idea of what the workplace culture was like, at least at the Dunkin's food chain in my town, in my community. So starting off with the interview, it was a one-on-one interview with the bigwig, right? This is a guy who owns tons of Dunkin' Donuts chains. And right off the bat, he passed judgment on me over the fact that I was a high school dropout at the time, which I guess is understandable. But also could have been interpreted as a warning sign that, if a higher up person is going to be this harsh right off the bat, then what does that say about the future down the line? This is a place where people are going to say what's on their mind, apparently. But yeah, he said something to the effect that, if my kids dropped out of high school, I would absolutely kill him. And then he went off on a tangent and completely digressed from the interview. And he went off on this tangent about how it's important I go back to school. But nonetheless, he gave me the job. So I got hired at Dunkin' Donuts despite being a high school dropout. And just to be clear, I did end up getting my high school diploma. But still to this day, I don't see what a diploma has to do with performing the duties of this job at Dunkin' Donuts whatsoever. It's just a societal judgment that people pass on to others. So I'm not going to pass that judgment, but that's just me. I will never forget the first day because there was actually absolutely no training involved at all. I remember showing up for my first day and, I signaled to the manager in the back, hey, I'm here. And this lady had no idea that there was a new person that was even going to start. And they were fairly understaffed to begin with. It was just me, that lady manager, we'll call her Denise, and one other customer service rep was there as well. So it's three of us total. I'm the new guy, and the three of us got to hold down the fort for the morning rush, which would be coming shortly. And I had no training at all. I don't know how to do any of the drinks. I don't know how to make any of the sandwiches. I certainly don't know how to communicate with the drive-through headset while also communicating with the people who are in the store with you. It's so much more difficult than it seems, and it's given me an appreciation and respect for people who do that day in and day out, because it's not as easy as it looks. And I'm not sure if this is the case with other fast food places, but Dunkin' Donuts just offered no training at all. I was expected to learn by myself how to make sandwiches, which through much struggle I did, but it was just inefficient and it felt improper. It was nothing like previous jobs I had held at that point, up until that point in time, where there was a training program involved, where you were shown exactly what is expected of you to be done. That wasn't the case with Dunkin' Donuts, though. And the manager would lash out at me and get mad on my first day, mind you, over the fact that I didn't know how to make these specialty coffee drinks. The basic ones I could do. If somebody ordered an extra large hot coffee, that's pretty obvious. You just pour hot coffee in an extra large cup and you have an extra large hot coffee. And you just hit the button on the screen. There's nothing much else to it. But, when someone orders one of these specialty drinks and they want it these 5 or 6 specific things, it gets tricky very quickly. And so I struggled in that environment. That would be one way to put it. And I came to learn that the managers there were kind of snotty. It wasn't just that one manager on my first day, because I remember being back there again the following day, and they assigned me to do dishes. And so I was doing dishes, and the manager comes up to me. Apparently I'm not doing it fast enough or right enough, and she yells at me. She goes, "Red hot, blue cold. Red hot, blue cold." And she's like holding the knobs. Like she's like mocking and like insulting my intelligence, saying I don't know what I'm doing. It was just completely unnecessary and just gave me yet another bad impression of this company. I mean, if these are the people they put in management positions, people that don't know how to behave like professional people, I mean, my expectations for the company were becoming fairly low after that incident. And I remember telling this story to my mom, and she got a good laugh out of it. There was this one coworker in particular. It was not just managers who were witchy. There was this one coworker in particular. Let's just refer to her as Bitchy Drive-Through Lady, okay? Now, Bitchy Drive-Through Lady puts Denise to sleep in terms of how rude and unprofessional she is, how completely wrong she is. She would like make mistakes with what she was doing and then blame other people and just lash out at other people in the store. Say, "Oh, you were supposed to do this," and it turns out it was something she was supposed to do. She was super mean to me. She never said anything nice to me in the time that I was there. There was an employee who made like a joke one time, and everybody in the store laughed except for her. And she just stood there like cold, nonchalant, like, you know, no jokes allowed here, you know? So there was the Bitchy Drive-Through Lady. Now, I also got to learn a little bit about corporate culture because corporate actually had all the employees in the store hold a meeting. It was the start of the new year, 2017, and we actually had our meeting on Inauguration Day, the same day that Trump was being inaugurated as president. And I remember this was a super hot day in my particular town in Massachusetts, and we were stuffed into like this crowded, small interior room of a different Dunkin Donuts in town, one that's not as busy. And I remember standing in there, and we got paid for the meeting. It was a minimum wage. We got paid for 1 hour, but this was a mandatory meeting. We were expected to be there. So, you know, try to put yourself in the shoes of somebody who has other obligations, and they're just expected to show up for this meeting. They don't know how long it's going to be. They're not told any information about that, and they're given very little notice to make time for this meeting. Well, all the employees at the store made time for this meeting, so good on the employees, right? Well, the entire meeting, the managers are treating the employees with complete disdain and talking about all the things that they do wrong, talking about how, "Oh, I saw a person go into their car after work the other day and they threw their Dunkin' Donuts apron onto the car floor. You know, this is the premier coffee chain in the world. If you don't like working here, then don't work here." You know, complaining about stupid little trivial things that really don't matter, that should be immaterial to the job. And I just remember it being super hot, and I was soaked in sweat, and I started to feel like I was going to pass out. So I just raised my hand, and they're like, "Yes, new guy." And I said, "Look, I need to get a water. I'm going to pass out." And then that kind of caused a shift in their humanity, and they were like, "Oh, yeah, of course. Let's get him a water." And so they got me a water, and I got hydrated, and I did not pass out, which is a good thing. So this is just one example of how this company can be very demanding. They gave this meeting with like absolutely no notice at all, and they expected everybody to make room in their schedule. But it's not something that just happens from the corporate end, it happens from the management end too. I remember I came in for one shift, and just 1 hour into my shift, Denise, the manager, comes up to me, and she says, "We need you to go home. We don't have enough hours, and we're not making enough money right now. It's not busy enough right now." So I was scheduled to come in for a 6-hour shift, and they send me home in 1 hour. Like, I had to travel to get here to carry out my commitment to this company, and that's how I'm treated. But look, not all was bad with the company, right? There were some benefits and perks. One benefit was that we were allowed a free iced coffee cup to drink throughout the day, and we could fill it as long as it was off time. You could fill it with whatever type of coffee that you want. And I remember the convenience store worker there also was able to get a free coffee cup as well. So we all had our own coffee cups in the back that were reusable, that we could reuse and make more coffee with. But there were more issues with management as well. It certainly wasn't just limited to that corporate encounter or snobby remarks. Some of it was just flat out immaturity. There was a different manager. Let's say her name is Ebenezer. I know, quite a name, right? But I don't want to give away actual names here. So Ebenezer, I first met her towards the end of my stay with the company. And so take in mind, we're two people that barely know each other at all. She knows very little about my work ethic whatsoever. And, there's still a lot of things that I haven't been shown here. And so at this point in time, a couple weeks into the job, and there's a specialty drink that I don't know how to make. So I walk up to her, she's doing drive-through, and I say, "Hey, Ebenezer, I don't know how to make this drink. Could you show me?" And this was her reaction. She just like freaked out like that. And I, at this moment, said right then and there, "All right, look this isn't working out. I'm not learning the job, and I don't want to be a burden to you all. So I'm going to terminate my employment here." And she was like confused by what I said and didn't know what I said. And she says, "Huh?" And then a different guy who works there says, "He's quitting." I feel the same way right now. He didn't end up quitting, but he was saying like he felt like quitting too based off all the chaos that was going on in this store. So I ended up leaving the job. I probably lasted 3 or 4 weeks at this company. It didn't pay well. It was a minimum wage job, as you can expect. Even the employees who worked there and had secured significant amounts of tenure, for some reason, they were paid scraps as well, minimum wage. At the company corporate meeting that we had in that hot, crowded room, they actually said that it was a productivity issue, which bewildered me because I saw these people in action and they know how to do everything better than anyone else in the store, and yet they have a productivity issue and aren't worthy of making a single dollar above minimum wage. I mean, come on, that just sounds cheap to me. Hours-wise, Dunkin Donuts would give me 18 to 24 hours per week. That was just with me working there in the less than 1 month I was there. Maybe they would have increased it had I stayed there longer, but from the people who I talked to there, and from the schedule they have on the wall where they show all the hours allotted to each employee, that's kind of the range that every employee was in there with the exception of the managers. So if you're expecting to get like full-time pay out of this work, you're not going to get it at Dunkin Donuts. So overall, my experience with Dunkin Donuts was wholly negative. The perk of having a free coffee cup that you could refill throughout the day certainly does not outweigh the mistreatment by managers and coworkers and being treated like a pawn and being treated with no dignity, no respect. It was not worth it in my eyes. So I stopped working there. And that's the end of my experience with Dunkin Donuts. What's it like working at Dunkin Donuts? I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope that you found this video helpful if you're considering maybe working at Dunkin Donuts yourself. Just give it a try. And it may be different where you are. It's always a possibility. But if it's anything like mine, treat yourself with more respect and find something better. Thank you all. Peace out and have a wonderful day.